For 5 years, no one heard his voice. Not the teachers, not the students, not even the janitors who mopped the floors around him every night. They called him the ghost of the hall, a silent shadow in the polished marble corridors of St. Bartholomew's Academy, the most prestigious school in London. But what no one knew, Liam Carter wasn't just invisible, he was waiting. And the day he finally spoke, his words would break every heart in that room. The first time you notice him, he's just a small figure pressed against the lockers, knees pulled to his chest, staring at the floor like it holds the weight of the world. The other children laugh as they rush past, their expensive shoes clicking against the tiles, their voices echoing with stories of weekends in Paris, new iPhones and private tutors. They never look down. They never see the boy who hasn't spoken since the fire, the one that took his father right here in these same halls. The school covered it up, called it an accident and moved on. But Liam didn't. He stayed, right where they left him, a living reminder in a place that wanted to forget. His mother, Clara, scrubs the same floors every night, her hands raw from chemicals, her back bent from exhaustion. She smiles at the students who sneer at her, calls them sir and miss even when they spit rumors about her son being slow or cursed. She doesn't know that while she's on her knees wiping away their muddy footprints, Liam sits in the hallway, counting the seconds until he can slip into the empty classroom where his father used to teach. He traces his fingers over the desk, where his dad's coffee mug still sits gathering dust. The teachers pretend not to see it. The headmistress, Mrs. Whitmore, walks past him every morning with a tight-lipped smile, as if silence is contagious. Then there's the new boy, Ethan Holloway. Rich. Arrogant? The kind of kid who gets away with anything. But today he pauses, just for a second, because Liam isn't crying. He isn't begging for attention. He's just there. And for the first time, someone looks. Ethan sees the way Liam's fingers twitch, like he's holding back words that burn too much to say. He sees the way the other kids flinch when they brush against him, like touching a ghost might leave a mark. And when Liam finally lifts his head, his eyes aren't empty. They're waiting. For what? That's the question that will haunt you. Because 3 days from now, Liam Carter will stand in front of the entire school, and when he opens his mouth, the truth will come out. The truth about the fire. The truth about the lies. The truth about the child everyone chose to ignore. And by the time he's done, not a single person in that room will be able to look away. You think you know what happens next? You don't. No one does. Hit like if you're ready for the truth. Subscribe, because this story, it's about to destroy you. The armchair in the school library creaks as Ethan Holloway leans back, the leather groaning under his weight like a warning. He shouldn't be here. Not in the restricted section, not with the dust-covered yearbooks from a decade ago, and definitely not searching for the name of a boy no one talks about. But Liam Carter's face, the way his dark eyes had locked onto Ethan's for just a second in the hallway, won't leave his mind. There was something in that stare. Not anger, not sadness, something worse, something like knowing. And Ethan, who has spent his entire life being told he's untouchable, suddenly feels the cold prickle of fear crawl up his spine. Because Liam Carter sees him, really sees him, and that's dangerous. The library smells like old paper and polish, the kind of scent that clings to places trying too hard to hide their secrets. Ethan's fingers trace the spines of the yearbooks, stopping at 2015, the year the fire happened. The year Liam's father died. The school had called it a tragic accident, a faulty wire in the science lab. But Ethan's father, a man who owns half of London's real estate, had once muttered over whiskey about hushed payments and families who asked too many questions. Ethan hadn't thought much of it then. Why would he? People like the Carters didn't matter. Not until now. The page sticks as he flips it open, the photograph of the staff from that year staring back at him. There in the back row is a man with Liam's same sharp jawline, the same stubborn set to his mouth. Daniel Carter, the caption reads, physics teacher, beloved by students. Ethan's stomach twists. Beloved. Past tense. He scans the rest of the page, his breath catching when he sees the small, blurry image of a school event, a winter fair, the gymnasium decorated with paper snowflakes. And there in the corner, Half hidden behind a table of cakes is a younger Liam, grinning up at his father like the world is made of sunlight. Ethan's thumb presses into the photo, smudging the ink. That boy is gone. The Liam in the hallway is a stranger. He slams the book shut. The sound echoes. The librarian, Mrs. Peabody, glares at him from behind her desk, her lips pursed like she's sucking on a lemon. Ethan ignores her, shoving the yearbook back onto the shelf. He needs more. He storms out, the heavy library doors swinging shut behind him with a finality that feels like an omen. The hallway is empty now, the final bell having rung 20 minutes ago. The school is a different place when the students are gone. Cold, hollow, the polished floors reflecting the dimming light like a mirror to another world. Ethan's footsteps slow as he reaches the corridor where he first saw Liam. It's always empty, always silent, like the school itself is holding its breath. And then he sees it, a sliver of paper sticking out from beneath the radiator. He crouches, his knees pressing into the thin carpet, and pulls. It's a letter. The paper is worn soft at the edges, the ink smudged in places where tears must have fallen. Ethan's hands shake as he unfolds it. "Dad, today Mrs. Whitmore told Mom I can't sit in the cafeteria anymore. She said the other kids deserve a clean space. I didn't tell her that your desk is still in room 203, covered in dust. I didn't tell her that I hear the janitors whisper about how the fire started in the storage closet, not the lab. I didn't tell her that I know. Because if I do, she'll make Mom leave. And then, where will we go? But I miss you. I miss you so much, it hurts to breathe. L." Ethan's pulse roars in his ears. The storage closet. His father's words slam into him like a fist. Some things aren't accidents, boy. They're choices, and choices have prices. The fire wasn't just a tragedy. It was a cover-up, and Liam, 10-year-old Liam, has been sitting on this truth for years. A floorboard creaks behind him. Ethan whirls around. Liam stands at the end of the hallway, his backpack slung over one shoulder, his expression unreadable. For a heartbeat, neither of them moves. Then Liam steps forward, his sneakers silent against the tile. He stops just out of arm's reach, his gaze flicking to the letter in Ethan's hand. There's no surprise in his eyes, no fear. Just a quiet, terrible resignation, like he's been waiting for this moment for a very long time. "You weren't supposed to find that," Liam says. His voice is rusty, like a door opening for the first time in years. It sends a shiver down Ethan's spine. Ethan swallows. "Why not?" Liam doesn't answer. Instead, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small, tarnished key. He holds it out. The metal is cold, biting into Ethan's palm as he takes it. "That's for the storage closet," Liam murmurs. "Room 1 to 12, but you have to go alone and you can't tell anyone, not even your dad." Ethan's throat goes dry. "Why me?" Liam's lips twitch. Not quite a smile, not quite anything. "Because you're the only one who looked." The key burns in Ethan's hand. He wants to ask more. He wants to demand answers. But Liam is already walking away, his shadow stretching long and thin against the wall, like he's being pulled into the dark. And for the first time in his life, Ethan Holloway understands what it feels like to be afraid of what he might find, because some doors, once opened, can never be closed again. And some truths, they don't just break hearts, they destroy worlds. The key is heavier than it should be. Ethan's fingers tremble as he slides it into the lock of room 112, the numbers on the door peeling like old scars. The school is empty. Dinner time, the janitors haven't made their rounds yet, and the only sound is his own breath, too loud, too fast. He shouldn't be here. But Liam's words echo in his skull. "You're the only one who looked." And now, standing in front of this door, Ethan realizes he doesn't want to turn the key. Because some things once seen can't be unseen. Some truths are like fire. They don't just burn you, they consume you. He pushes the door open. The smell hits him first, damp, metallic, like rust and something older, something rotten. The storage closet is narrow, the shelves lined with yellowed boxes, broken lab equipment, and stacks of moldy textbooks. But it's the back wall that makes Ethan's stomach drop. The paint is blistered, blackened in jagged streaks, as if something tried to claw its way out from the inside. And there, half hidden behind a collapsed shelf, is a charred, twisted hunk of metal. Ethan crouches, his knees pressing into the gritty floor. It's a coffee mug, or what's left of one. The words "world's best teacher" are still barely visible, the letters warped by heat. His hands shake as he reaches for the box beneath it. The cardboard is brittle, falling apart as he lifts the lid. Inside, a stack of singed papers, lesson plans, student grades, a photograph of Daniel Carter and Liam at the beach, both grinning, their arms wrapped around each other. And beneath it all, a folder. Thick, official. The words "St. Bartholomew's Academy Confidential Incident Report" are stamped across the front in red. Ethan's pulse is a drumbeat in his throat. The first page is a fire marshal's report. Date, December 12, 2015. Cause of fire, undetermined but likely electrical fault in science lab. Ethan's fingers flip the page, and then he sees it. A handwritten note, paper clipped to the back. The ink is smudged, the writing frantic. They're lying. The fire started in the storage closet, not the lab. I saw the security footage before Whitmore had it lost. Daniel wasn't in the lab that night. He was in here, moving boxes, old records, things the school didn't want anyone to see. He found something about the donations, the scholarship funds. He was going to go public. Then the fire happened. Convenient, isn't it? I tried to tell the police, but my family, they made me stop. I'm sorry. J.M. Ethan's vision blurs. Donations. Scholarship funds. His father's company handles the school's finances. His father, who had laughed when Ethan asked about the fire, who had said, "Some people just don't know when to stop digging, son." His father, who had looked at Liam's mother like she was dirt on his shoe. The folder slips from his hands. Papers scatter. And that's when he sees the second note. This one is in Liam's handwriting. Messy, angry, the words slashed across the page like knife cuts. They killed him. I know they did, and they're going to get away with it, unless someone makes them listen. The door creaks behind him. Ethan whirls around. Liam stands in the doorway, his face pale, his eyes burning with something Ethan has never seen before. Not sadness, not anger, but a terrible, quiet triumph. Like he's been waiting for this moment for years. Like he's finally won. "You found it," Liam says. It's not a question. Ethan's mouth is dry. "Liam, You know now," Liam interrupts, stepping forward. His voice is steady, but his hands are clenched into fists, his knuckles white. "You know what they did, what your family did." Ethan flinches. "I didn't." "Yes, you did." Liam's voice cracks, just once before he swallows hard, his jaw tightening. "You just didn't care. None of you ever care. Until it's your dad in a coffin. Until it's your mom scrubbing floors for people who spit on her. Until it's you sitting in the hall invisible, like you don't even exist." Ethan wants to argue. He wants to scream that he didn't know, that he's not like them. But the words die in his throat, because Liam is right. He didn't care. Not until now. Not until it was too late. Liam crouches, picking up the photograph of his father. He traces the edges with his thumb, his expression softening for just a second before he looks back at Ethan. "They're having an assembly tomorrow. The voice of St. Bartholomew." His voice is low, deadly calm. "Every student gets 2 minutes to speak, no rules, no censorship." Ethan's blood runs cold. "Liam, what are you going to do?" Liam smiles. It's the first time Ethan has seen him do it, and it's the most terrifying thing he's ever seen. "I'm going to make them see me." The warning bell rings. Somewhere down the hall, a door slams. Liam tucks the photograph into his pocket and turns to leave. But before he goes, he looks back at Ethan, his gaze sharp as a blade. "You can walk away, pretend you never saw any of this, or you can stand with me tomorrow. But choose fast, Ethan, because after tomorrow, nothing will be the same." The door clicks shut behind him. Ethan is left alone in the dark, the weight of the truth pressing down on him like a tomb. He could burn the folder. He could pretend this never happened. He could go back to his life, where people like Liam don't exist, where fires are just accidents and fathers are just gone. But then he looks down at the key in his hand, and he knows. Some choices aren't really choices at all. What would you do? Walk away or stand with the boy no one noticed? even if it means burning your own world to the ground. Comment below. The auditorium is packed, every seat filled. Every face turned toward the stage, where Liam Carter stands, small still, his hands gripping the edges of the podium like it's the only thing keeping him from floating away. The silence is suffocating. Even the teachers, even Mrs. Whitmore in her crisp blazer, even Ethan's father in the back row, his expression unreadable, none of them dare to breathe too loud, because they all know something is about to break. Liam doesn't look at his notes. He doesn't need to. The words are carved into his bones. 5 years ago, he begins, his voice quiet but clear, cutting through the hush like a blade. My father died in this school. They told you it was an accident. They told you it was a tragedy. They told you to move on. His fingers tighten on the wood, but they lied. A murmur ripples through the crowd. Mrs. Whitmore shifts in her seat, her smile frozen. Ethan, sitting in the front row, feels the weight of every eye on him. His father's gaze burns into the back of his skull. Liam lifts his head. His eyes are dry, no tears, just fire. My dad wasn't in the science lab that night. He was in the storage closet. Room 112. He found records, proof that the school, that certain families, had been stealing from the scholarship fund for years. Money meant for kids like me, kids who needed it, and when he tried to stop them, his voice cracks just once. They made sure he couldn't. The room erupts. Mrs. Whitmore stands abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. Liam, that's enough. No! His voice thunderous, a sound no one expected from a boy so small. The crowd flinches. It's not enough. Not when my mum worked 16-hour days to pay off debts this school owed her. Not when I've sat in these halls for 5 years, invisible, while the people who killed my father walked past me like I didn't exist. Not when you... His finger points directly at Mrs. Whitmore, his hand shaking. Told her if she kept asking questions, she'd lose her job. Not when you... Now he turns, his gaze locking onto Ethan's father. Paid to make the truth disappear. Ethan's father doesn't move, doesn't deny it. The room holds its breath. Liam reaches into his pocket, pulls out the photograph of his dad, holds it up. This is Daniel Carter. He was a teacher. He was a good man. And he deserved better than to be erased like he never mattered. His voice drops to a whisper. We all do. The silence that follows is deafening. Then, a single clap. Ethan stands. His hands are shaking, but he doesn't care. He steps onto the stage, his shoes echoing in the hollow space. The crowd gasps. His father's face darkens. But Ethan doesn't look at him. He looks at Liam. He's right, Ethan says, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. All of it. He turns to the audience. My family was part of this. My father helped cover it up, and I... His throat tightens. I didn't care. Until now. The room explodes, shouts, whispers. Mrs. Whitmore is on her feet, barking orders, but no one listens. Students are standing, their phones out, recording. Parents are murmuring, their faces pale. And in the back, Ethan's father finally moves, pushing through the crowd, his face a mask of fury. But Ethan doesn't flinch. Liam looks at him, his eyes wide, disbelieving. Why? He mouths. Ethan swallows. Because you were right. Someone had to see you. The fallout is immediate. By the next morning, the video has gone viral. News vans line the street outside St. Bartholomew's. Mrs. Whitmore resigns before lunch. Ethan's father is in emergency meetings with lawyers, his voice a low, dangerous growl every time Ethan walks past his study. But Ethan doesn't care, because for the first time Liam isn't sitting alone in the hallway. He's at a table in the cafeteria, surrounded by kids who never spoke to him before. They're awkward, unsure, but they're there. And when Ethan sits down beside him, Liam doesn't pull away. You didn't have to do that, Liam says quietly, pushing a tray of food toward him. You could have walked away. Ethan looks at the crowd, the way they're watching Liam now, really seeing him. Yeah, he admits, but then I'd still be invisible too. Liam doesn't smile. But for the first time, he doesn't look away. The truth doesn't fix everything. Liam's mom still works 2 jobs. The school still carries the stain of what happened. Ethan's father hasn't spoken to him since the assembly, but something has shifted. Because now when Liam walks down the hall, people move, not out of fear, out of respect. And when Ethan passes his father in the hallway of their mansion, the older man's silence speaks louder than words. You chose them over me. But Ethan made his choice, and for the first time, he doesn't regret it. Because some things are worth burning for. What would you have done? Would you have stood with Liam even if it meant losing everything? The last bell of the year rings through St. Bartholomew's Academy, echoing like a final breath. The halls, once filled with laughter and the clatter of polished shoes, are now quiet, empty except for two figures standing in the place where it all began. The corridor, the spot where Liam Carter spent years as a ghost, unseen, unheard. But not anymore. Liam traces his fingers along the lockers, his touch light like he's memorizing the shape of them. The school has changed. The students have changed. Even the air feels different, lighter somehow. But the past lingers. It always does. Do you think they'll remember? He asks, his voice barely above a whisper. Or will they just move on? Ethan leans against the wall, his arms crossed. He's different too. Not the arrogant boy who walked these halls like he owned them, but someone quieter. Someone who understands the weight of silence. They'll remember, he says, because you made them. Liam exhales, a shaky breath that carries the weight of 5 years of grief, of anger, of being invisible. He pulls the old photograph of his father from his pocket, creased at the edges, worn from being held too tight. I used to think if I just stayed quiet, if I didn't cause trouble, maybe they'd finally see me. His voice cracks. But no one sees you if you don't scream. Ethan doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. Because they both know the truth now. The world doesn't reward silence. It rewards the brave, the ones willing to burn for what's right. A shadow falls across the hallway. Clara Carter stands there, her cleaning cart beside her, her eyes red-rimmed but her posture straight. She's wearing a new uniform, no longer the worn-out grey of the janitorial staff, but the crisp blue of the school's administrative team. After the truth came out, the board offered her a position, an apology, a chance to rebuild. You boys ready? She asks, her voice steady. We've got a long drive ahead. Liam nods, slipping the photograph back into his pocket. He takes one last look at the corridor, the place that held his pain, his loneliness, his fight. Then he turns and walks away, not as the ghost he once was, but as the boy who refused to be erased. Ethan watches them go. His father never spoke to him again. Not after the assembly, not after the news broke, not even when Ethan packed his bags to leave the Holloway name behind. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. But as he stands there, in the empty hallway, he realizes something. He doesn't need his father's approval. He needs his own. He pulls out his phone. The screen is filled with messages, from students, from strangers, from people who watched the video and said, "You did the right thing." But one message stands out. A single text from Liam sent just an hour ago. We're not invisible anymore. Ethan smiles. It's small, fragile, but it's real. The camera pulls back. The school fades into the distance, the sun setting behind its towering spires. The story of Liam Carter isn't over. It's only just beginning. Because this isn't just about one boy, one school, one moment of truth. It's about every person who's ever been ignored, every voice that's ever been silenced, every truth that's ever been buried. And the question that lingers long after the screen goes dark is this: how many Liam Carters are still out there? Your turn. This story was about seeing the unseen, about standing up when the world tells you to sit down. But I know you have stories too. Maybe you've been the one no one noticed. Maybe you've been the one who finally saw. Or maybe you know someone who needs their truth to be heard. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been invisible? What changed? Do you know someone like Liam, someone who fought to be seen? What would you have done? Walked away or stood with the truth? Because your story matters. And if you want it told, if you want the world to hear, let me know. This channel isn't just about stories, it's about voices. and yours could be next. Like, share, subscribe. Because the world needs more people who refuse to look away.